Howdy y'all, hope you're doing well. Today I wanted to share with you a bit about breathwork and understanding the difference between breathwork on a big flute and a small flute. The small flutes are a little easier to control breath and sound and moisture versus these bigger flutes, bigger holes, and more breath. So a flute can do something called wetting out. That is, you're putting a lot of moisture that are coming out of your lungs into the flute. On a wood flute, it swells the wood fibers and it stops you from being able to play. So you need a series of flutes to be able to play for a long period of time. Or you need to be really good at controlling how much breath you're putting in, not putting too much extra breath. You can create something with your mouth called an embouchure. Just create a tight little circle and use concentrated air to blow into your flute versus just eating the end of your flute and blowing all the air that you can in there. If you do that, you'll run out of breath quicker. So you want to create a tighter hole to blow out of with your mouth, and that will help you be able to play longer as well as not run out of breath so quickly. Before you run out of breath, let's say halfway out of the breath, go ahead and take a breath. So add a natural pause into your music and then add breath. Today we're going to need a microfiber cloth. You can use any kind of cloth. I'm going to show you how wetting out is taken care of on these 3D printed flutes. So I'm going to show you the difference between a lot of breath and a little breath. You're not going to hear that much sound difference, but I'm going to run out of breath quicker on one versus the other. So I'll do the blowing as much as I can, as quick as I can. So I'm just going to put my mouth fully over the holes here and play, and you'll see how quickly I run out of breath by just giving it my all. So already out of breath. Now I'm going to show you what controlling that breath looks like and how much longer you can play on a single breath. But to remind you, you should be taking a breath before you're out of breath. So I'm taking the flute away from my mouth and taking a breath and creating a natural pause in the music before I'm fully out of breath. And I was automatically naturally doing that. Once you figure that out, you'll just do it automatically a lot of the times because you don't want to run out of breath. You don't want to feel breathless constantly, right? So you'll create natural pauses before you're fully out of breath to restock up on oxygen there. Something to note is when you're starting to wet out, it's a lot harder to play the notes in these lower registers because they'll want to change pitch higher quicker. So I'm already to the point where I'm putting normal breath into this bottom note here, and it's only wanting to go up in pitch instead of down in pitch. The way to change that is there's two ways to do that. You can lower the amount of air and the amount of breath you're putting into the flute, as in, what I do is I put my tongue at the back of the palate of the curve of my mouth, so up in this area, and I widen kind of my cheeks and blow a breathy air into there instead of a concentrated stream. That's something you'll have to play around with. And I have to change the way instead of playing up here, I move down here because it's easier for me to change my mouth to be able to play that low note. You hear that where it started high and then went low? That's because the flute's wetting out. So I'm going to show you what that looks like now. So on these handy dandy flutes here, you can take off this section. And I want to show you that that's glistening because it is wet. So you take a microfiber cloth or your shirt or whatever, and you dry all that off. And you can see no longer glistening. You're going to have moisture build up in there too. You can see how it's glistening right there. And if you blow in this really hard, you'll be able to see moisture come from this chamber and slide down in little droplets. So So you can take your microfiber cloth and clean that out. What I do is blow really hard this direction, and then I blow these two out really hard as well. And this needs to be done as well. You'll be able to see that. I don't use this one as much, and this one doesn't get as wet. But you can see you have moisture droplets right there. So all you got to do is blow those out real well. Sometimes you'll be able to see moisture coming out of the ends of the holes there, and just wipe that off. Give everything a good wipe down. You can do this on a wood flute too. It's just a little harder. You got to do most of your blowing just from the regular end there to blow out that moisture. Quick hard press, get that out real well. You'll be able to see that it's a lot easier to play that higher note without it going sharp or without it raising an octave or squeaking. Another quick example of changing your breath to play that lower note is you need an airier breath and a slower breath instead of fast. If you do fast and steady, it's a high-pitched stream. If you go slow and low, but you can see you can change in between the two. But once you get to that higher pitch, it's harder to go down again. I found, and every flute's different in that category. But I hope that helps you out. Good luck playing. See you around.